I decided to make a tutorial for the iron golem farm that I use frequently. I use it in almost every world I ever go to, no matter the version, mod collection. This is my go-to for an iron golem farm. They're pretty efficient, and it gives you trading abilities, breeding abilities, and then for whatever villagers you want out, you just don't leave them with a profession, so you can leave it, or you can even add extra beds if you want to bring in an extra villager or two, scoop them up and take them wherever. Or you can just leave it as an iron golem farm and trading facility. So that way you can get your iron and trade. It's real simple. It's not really too expensive. You can build it in the ground, above ground. You can even layer them up higher if you want, or lower. Do you believe it's going to be 120 block or 60 block? I need to double check that because I haven't built a double stacker this one. But you always start with the bottom. Put yourself down, simple double chest, throw some hoppers in it, a nice 2x2 in the corner of the chunks. Surround it whatever block you want to use. And this next bit, you can either, you can wall it up and make sure you can still get into the chest, or if you want, you can go down another block with the hoppers and run it to wherever you want and put the chest, into it and make sure you can get to the chest. But this is just the simplest way you can do it, and this honestly is best built in the spawn chunks. And spawn chunks, are exactly this setup right here. It's two 2x2 chunks set up, and so that way it's always running in the background. And we can set up a chamber that'll keep people from dying. So if they do spawn on top of it, because they may not spawn in here, so if people come in your world, or you die somewhere or fall off into the void and you don't have any home points, that you're gonna respawn back to your spawn point. So you can always just leave some chest gates there and leave some gates above the chest, and this allows you to get into the chest and get in and out of the kill chamber there. Get your signs down for your lava blades, because if you fall into it, as long as you don't jump, you're going to be fine. You're not going to get killed by the lava. So if anyone does come into the world, or items will definitely get destroyed. So careful about placing this in your chunks. The next thing you want to do is you want 40 beds, but we're going to start here. And you want to make sure all your beds' pillows are pointing towards, the center of the farm. And we'll just start with 4 there. And then we can go down here. This would be 10. Then another 4. Then another 10. And the next bit is pretty easy. You want these beds to face towards the center. You just go all the way around facing the pillows towards the center, skipping that one corner there. That can be used for a variety of things, or nothing. This farm is pretty versatile, except for the beds. The beds have to be facing the center, otherwise your spawns will get messed up. And the reason why I say build, is you want this 4 high, the bottom block, and then that right there is because you're going to put slabs down. It'll leave it to where golems don't spawn in. You still got some decent headroom in here to move around. Your villagers can move around. Yes, this is a free roam farm / trading hall. The iron golems do spawn in pretty quick. And one of the iterations I made, I put zombies like at each end. Just pushed a button, poop, they popped up and on a piston and scared the tar out of the zombies, and that made iron golems spawn a little bit faster, but also distracted them from their work, which they need work tables in order to work. Like this iron golem farm uses all 3 mechanics to push iron golems out faster, because they need to socialize, or they need to sleep, or they need to be scared, or just go through a whole day. So use the socializing, sleeping, and the working mechanics. Those are the 3 main ones. The scared is kind of a side mechanic, if I remember right. But for the most part, they need to sleep, work, socialize. And that increases the iron golem rate, and they die relatively quick enough that you can spawn at every point that you can spawn the iron golems. And after you get that set up, you want to go around and make sure that the entirety of this space, because it's 2 chunks by 2 chunks, you know, make sure you have your borders on. If you need, it's F3G. Basically, the 2 by 2 chunks need to be slabs, except for the farming plot you want to build. That can actually, because it won't spawn on top of the garden. So you can actually pick a spot, put your garden in wherever you want. I'm going to go ahead and fill this whole space out, and I'll be back with you in a second. And welcome back. I got the space all filled out. They're all slabbed up. Now the best options for the farms, honestly, I just pick a corner. You can even use all 4 corners if you want. You know, and if this is in the cave, you don't have to worry about this edge. It could be a wall, or this end could be the wall either. You know, you could always just build yourself a wall up. It's far enough from their spawning zones. You can always just have yourself a nice little wall over here to keep the villagers in, or even just fence it off. However you want to do it. So I'm gonna add. Yes, I'm using the building gadgets. It's quite an amazing system. I give Direwolf credit for that. He's watching this iteration grow over the years. I wish it would delete rocks. Grass just fine, but it won't delete rocks. So either you just put yourself a fence down or a wall, however you're wanting to do it. Oh, this music is so loud, and I turned it off. I don't know why it's even on. So I apologize for that. Like, seriously, I've turned this music off. I've turned it down. It's just so, yeah, it's on 30. It shouldn't even be that loud. Don't even know what's causing it. It's so just in your face. Okay, I'm back. The music finally stopped. I don't even know what to do about that loud music. There's no options anywhere. I've tried ambient sounds, music's down. Or sound muffler, like, it doesn't show up on anything. I don't know what to do about any of those sounds. It does not show up, and it's been irritating me because it messes up my recordings. Anyways, back to the task at hand. So far, this is what you should have. You know, got your wall and everything going. Then if you want a farm, you're going to have to dig down. I mean, you could go up if you wanted to, but you're going to be, you know, kind of into the ceiling. You're going to have like 2 blocks to work with, you know, it'll still work. Ideally, you can make it as big or as small as you want. Just make sure you always save space for, you know, in the entryway, like, either point. I generally put, like, my workbenches, like, right here in the middle, you know, of the chunks, or I'll stick it right here in the middle. So that way, you know, because you can put 10 here, 10 there, 10 there, 10 there. That's 40 workbenches, and you can leave the corners for entryways. You know, your anvils and everything you want to do to. And if you always want to make it look nicer, you can always just throw some stairs on it, because golems will not spawn on stairs. Whoops. Another thing you will definitely have to add is lighting, which we can get to after we get this is kind of my creative testing world. The flat worlds do not exist with this mod pack for some reason. I've tried everything. Oh, right, need water. That's actually easy to do. And also, you're going to be able to farm in a corner, try to put, you know, your composters for your farmers, you know, this side and that side of the farm. Helps out quite a bit. And get some taters in. Yes, this is my first tutorial. I usually just build. I don't explain what I'm doing. I just know what I'm doing and just build it. There we go. We got a little potato farm for our farmers when we get them. Next step now would be to build the platform. So you want to go 8 out, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, actually, technically, you want to go all the way out because you don't want. So you want to take this all the way out to the edge of the platforms, and I will bring you back once I get that done. Okay, now that that's done, next important step, I prefer to use lanterns for this because they hang on ceilings. They're just the easiest to deal with. Definitely want to light it up in here now, because you're going to have a lot of problems. I kind of like going to these corners here, just popping one up there in the corner. Yeah, it kind of does block your villagers from getting to the beds, but you can always get rid of the fighting by just sticking a fence there. Lighting, I mean, as long as everything's lit up and nothing can spawn down here, the lighting's, you know, your choice, your call. Light it up however you want. Definitely not suggest turning these into whole blocks. That way villagers don't get trapped on it, and that weird possibility an iron golem will spawn on it. Probably not possible, but you never know with Minecraft. It is so funky sometimes. You're just gonna go around and just lighting everything up. The farm might be the hardest spot if you put it in the corner like that. And I kind of like to go every 4 blocks and light it all up. And I'm just gonna haphazardly just throw some lights down for now, so we get lit up and nothing will spawn down here. They're not too hard to light though. You just throw in a fence and throw a lantern in the center. And thankfully with it going up, they won't be jumping on the farm, so they're not going to just wreck it. You're just going to go around, you know, get everything lit up really good so nothing will spawn. Generally I put like my row of workstations, then I put a fence, and then I put lanterns at the end of them because it creates almost that perfect center for the light. And there we go, everything's lit up pretty good. Now that we got that, that's why I said, you know, get the floor in and then start hanging it. Well, you could put lights in first if you want. You just have to put lanterns and torches on something, because this has to stay as a slab. You can't have it as a whole block, otherwise golems will spawn on it. And carpets, I wouldn't use that because it breaks the pathfinding for the villagers. This, you can put carpets down if you want. You know, to help, you know, ease the hoppers, whatever. I'd never really worry about it, to tell you the truth. Now this next step, you're gonna want to go 8 blocks out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Actually, I believe this. You want this to be 8 blocks. Then the 9th block, you want to put this up. And you want to do that all the way around. And then you want to fill this out all the way around. And I'll bring you back shortly when I'm done with that. And once you're done with that, you want to build up a wall on the outside of that. So you want to run it all the way up to the chunk edges. You know, build yourself a nice little wall after that. Definitely want about 3 high, because you got to put, and the corners don't have to be 3 high. Those mountain blocks shove me around. So can make it too high and just put a fence in, so that's what I usually do. this mess. Should have probably just left it like that. So you kind of want it like that because you're going to be putting blocks here. You could even do it like that if you wanted. So the water goes down here, then just put your fencing over this part here all the way corner to corner. Because it's got to be spawn proof. You just apply your corners like that and put your fencing all the way across. Or whatever, or slabs if you want to use slabs. I just prefer fencing because if I build this above ground, I like to keep this open and make little platforms to stand outside to look in to make sure it's still running properly. But I've not had any breaking issues with this other than iron golems spawning before I was ready for them to spawn and spawning in places they weren't supposed to. So I started rethinking this design a little bit. It's like it's better to start from the bottom and then work your way up before you even get villagers or anything in there. That is kind of more of a challenge with this one is the villagers can be a pain to get in there, but once it's fenced in, you can put the fence gates, you can make a hole in it. So at least if you shove them through with a mine cart, make a hole in the wall, shove them through with the mine cart, it's not going to kill them. You can always make little piston risers for boats. Whatever means that you want to bring them in after you get the framework for everything done. Like the villagers is the last thing you want to do. You can have them ready, but definitely don't let them get a bed or any. Yeah, just don't bring any villagers in at all, because if they get a profession in a bed, then it's already going to start the works. So now, well, not done yet. Your walls, like I said, you can double layer, you can use slabs, you can use fence, you can do that however you want, and use whatever blocks you want to build this out. And I just chose 2 different blocks to show different heights here. Guess I should just do that with the fences too instead of running back and forth. I generally light this up here. You don't have to because they're not getting to your villagers. It's like it's fenced in. Nothing's getting in there, not even as a zombie villagers. So you don't even have to do anything with that if you don't want to. Or you can make it all out of glass, make a fence. You can just put it, well, if you just put a slab on it, I'd definitely put like a trap door on the top or something. You definitely want to make sure there's no, there's a more than half a block gap between the, whatever you put here and there. Well, no, because you do slab and slab, that's a whole block and a half, and zombie villagers will get in there. Just make sure that nothing can get in there that you don't want to get in there. A zombie villager gets in there, it's going to be a bad day for everybody. And like I said, this will fit inside your spawn chunks perfectly. It's kind of a combination of multiple iron farms. It used to be one of my favorite things to do is go. I used to play a lot of Bedrock because I had a hard time getting a job and work on one of my old computers, so I just played Bedrock. It worked better for some reason. So I watched a lot of Tech videos and converted. I don't know, I just had fun converting iron golem farms into Bedrock, and I didn't feel it worked too well. I had one save that just got corrupted because there was too many iron golems spawning, and it's an infinite loop of iron golems spawning, and it wouldn't load the save anymore. See, and that works perfectly, so it goes all the way up to the edge, and then you just boop, they fall down. You can replace these with stairs if you want. I kind of like to keep it as blocks because sometimes they will spawn like right here. You got a nice little perfect measure for all your water. It goes straight down, leads them straight down to the hole perfectly without overlapping it. Then your next step after you do that is just definitely your lava. Go ahead and you can even just put 1. You don't have to put 4. I'm just weird. I like to put 4. Then after that, you're gonna want villagers. course, you're not going to have spawn eggs for this. You're going to have to bring them in. I said, however means you want to bring them in. Fence, gates, whatever you want to do. But make sure this outside wall, definitely spawn proof. You can, meet the walls up if you want, but this down here has to stay to the slab. And I think it does look pretty good with the beds, as well. But also, it's just to keep iron golems from spawning down here. And if they happen to spawn down here, they're gonna suffocate to death anyways. 99.9% sure they will not spawn down here at all. This is all spawn proof, and you can adjust your lights however you want. I'm just run through this pretty quick to get this tutorial done for everybody. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to put my profession blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and get, if I remember the composers, yep, right there in front of my face. Oops. Oh no, that's actually, this part you can bring up to a whole block if you're putting profession blocks on them, because they will not, there's not enough space for the iron golems to even try to spawn anyways. So 4, 5. So this is usually the point where I kind of, you can even use stairs if you want. Just pop up a stair, throwing a lantern and a fence, brings you light, and it keeps, they'll kind of get up here a little bit and mosey around a bit, but for the most part your villagers will not, or you can even swap this around and do fence and then a lantern, however you want to do it. It'll work. It works pretty good there, and it does prevent them from thinking they can get up on top of the workstation. See, stuff's already falling into it. Huh. Don't know what fell into it, but then we'll do another. This is up to you. You can have one farmer, you can have 5, 10, you can have all the farmers that you want. Just make sure you have plenty of farmland for them. And only turn these into whole blocks if you're putting profession blocks on them. I try to stick with 10 farmers, usually. As far as, all the professions you want, that is literally up to you. Then once, you get them set up with stations, beds, you just bring in villagers, and they will, it's kind of slow at first, it'll take them some time to breed, but if you bring in more, the faster this will work, because you're doubling your villagers each time they mate and breed. You can even help them along a little bit. Let's see, let's just get rid of all this, even you. You can even help them along by just chucking potatoes at them. And the reason why I like this one's they get the free roam too. They pretty much stick at their stations relatively well, so you can go to each one independently without locking them into a room or a chamber. So it allows them to get all their mechanics out like they're supposed to. Have more taters. What I'm going to do here is turn daylight cycles on so they can get their full day's work. Their whole cycle going. And something else met the water. Sweet. That's also another good point with the water and the lava being where it's at. Let's make this gate over here. Oh, there's a lot of things will fight this lava. You'll see here, they'll fight it. They'll get into the lava and just kind of hang out at the edge a little bit, getting burned up. And you get drops from all kinds of stuff. And considering we're in the ocean, yeah, it'd be a fish farm on top of that. Generally, if you throw items in, it's gonna get destroyed. Boop. So let's give this some time to. I'm gonna give this some time to let them breed and get everything going, and I'll bring you back once we start. Yes, and look, he's even up there farming. So there's plenty of room. They're not gonna destroy the crops. You can extend it as far out as you want. You can put whatever crops you want. Just make sure they have this. I would say leave these two alone, so that way they're not hopping up and down like boing, 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 and just. You can put a stair there like you did at the end of it. You know, waterlog it, extend it as far as you want. You can do it in every corner if you want. I've done that before and just turn this all into, like 60% farmers, and then, 50% farmers and the rest, are blacksmiths and, that trade iron for emeralds. You don't even have to use it for an emerald farm. You can just leave it as an iron farm. Or you can turn it to an emerald farm, trading in all your. What fell in there this time? Huh. Is that couple mon are falling in there? That's good though. That's what I'm saying. Like they fall into it slow enough that it kills them, and then they boop and drop their items. So you're gonna be getting more than iron if you build it in the ocean. That's for sure. But yes, I'll bring you all back shortly once we get. I mean, we could always just spawn more, right? At 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you just got 10 farmers running around. Yeah, see, they're already throwing potatoes around. Throwing taters. And the best advice is, as your village grows and you get more villagers, you want to add professions as they come. As I said, you want to make sure, 1, they got a bed. 2, they can socialize. Speaking of socializing, we need to get. This part's actually pretty important, is the bell. You can put this wherever you want for the most part. Oops. That way they have a spot to socialize. Let's get that lamp out of the way. Actually, probably the best spot for that would be right over here. Because this space will be pretty open. My old ones, I used to put it on the walls here, but, the beds, the spacing, kept having iron golems spawn on the beds for some odd reason. Because you do kind of want that in the center of the village, for the most part, but it ain't going to affect anything because there's nowhere else for the golems to spawn other than on these platforms. You could even, throw it right there if you wanted. As long as they have somewhere to socialize. Because, they want to work, they want to sleep, and they want to socialize. And get all those going perfectly for them. They're going to constantly spawn iron golems, which they might start spawning them here pretty soon. We already got 3 little baby villagers. Like I said, the most important part is making sure you have plenty of workstations for all of them. And yes, you can use librarians and all that here as well. They work pretty well. Yep, that's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, that was 6. Whoops. Gonna go get some stairs. And the best time to work on this, if you have to change anything, is definitely while they're sleeping. So yeah, they get to their beds relatively well. So now that your village is, the center point's definitely going to be. Oh my goodness, that's the irritating part about having to have this so short. I mean, I guess you don't have to if you, as long as you slab everything. I just prefer to make it this short because it just makes it easier, stops them from bouncing around so much. Just kind of go around and give. Well, actually, I don't think anvils. I mean, you could always have the station set up before you get them all spawned in, or do it while they're spawning in, as long as you get 40 workstations, 40 beds. But that's the max, really the max. You can get more if you want to by more beds and more stuff, but it's not going to increase any rates whatsoever. It's just going to keep it steady. And over here we can just add some anvils over here just for that. Whoop, that's not anvils. So your farmers will be facing there. Have your smiths facing in over here. Let's go ahead and do. So I find a lectern. I don't remember where they're at in this menu anymore. Oh, there they are. And even with the trading bits, like, try not to hit them, but just you can get up in here and just destroy the table, swap them in and out, or you can do that elsewhere and bring them in. One thing I like to do is, my first one I usually turn to an emerald farm and a breeder, and I leave. Usually put like an extra bed in each one of these corners, or put an extra 2 at each middle point there, so you got 4 extra beds and make 4 extra villagers. Since they won't have a profession, they'll be roaming around, so during work hours you can really scoop them up into a mine cart. Boat's probably better because of this, and you just have to clear out this, little spot, put a fence gate on it. Hello, kitty. Something else just fell in. Yeah, wow, even getting a slime ball. Glow stacking. Look at this. Accidentally made a ocean farm while trying to make an iron golem farm. Yes, you can make more farms. You can make it all just farmers and bring your iron elsewhere. So you can do multiple layers. I need to double check the distance on that. So before I end this video, I'll make sure I check the distance between, spawn points. I think it was like 62 or 120, somewhere in that range. Yep, there it is. So once you have 10 villagers, kicks it on. Iron Golem starts spawning first thing in the morning. Voila. Oh, there's my exit. So that happened pretty quick. You boop and already dead. Sitting already down there wanting to make more babies. If you're starting with just 2 villagers, it's kind of slow. It works. Excuse me. So if you want to be like just farmers and make a breeder, just pop 2 extra beds right here. You could do 4 if you wanted to. But if you want to do that instead of 2, you could just take this bed and just rotate them and point them this way towards the center instead of this aspect. So this thing works pretty quick because they're getting all their stuff out of the way. See, there's 2 in there. As I said, it's one of my favorite ones. You can load it in your spawn chunks. It's always running, and it's like I said, your spawn chunks are 2 by 2, so this is the perfect fit. You get trading, you get breeding, you get iron, course, since I built it in the ocean, and this is also a cobble one pack, I'm getting more than iron, which I could upgrade that to a bigger chest. Or a storage system, you know, you can leave a little chest there, keep a constant eye on it, or you can drop it down a block and run it underneath everything to the outside of the farm, pick it up there. You see, they're already working. They already got smiths. Yes, there's another one. This thing's pretty quick. Not the quickest out there, the best, but it is pretty quick. And yeah, I know that the whole scare mechanic's probably one of the best ones to make micro farms, but there's not really any good videos out there for, you know, iron farm, breeder, trainer. It's like you can even turn one of these corners into, like, you know, converting them, you know, from villagers into zombie villagers and send them back out in the corner or outside the farm. Like, so many. Wow, that's a lot of little kids right there. Geez, there's so many. Yeah, once you get, like, started on villagers, they don't stop spawning and breeding. The only thing you gotta be careful with is sometimes they will breed 2 to 4 extra villagers and they won't have beds. That happens. Oh, there you go. You got extra villagers you can haul out, throw them in a boat. You might have to reset it better too, because sometimes they'll take beds from the people that already have professions. This is the design that I've been using for a very long time. I said you can. I need to double check the range. It's been a while since I've looked at the range because I haven't built more than one, you know, in a spot in a long time. But in a spawn check, you can build them up all the way from bedrock all the way up. Which if you build another layer, you want this, just be open. They're just gonna fall down and go straight down. Build a, you know, connect a tunnel all the way down, so make sure it doesn't have a lip like this, because they'll get stuck on it and then. Well, actually, it doesn't even matter, because if you just drop them onto another pad like this, they're just going to fall in anyways. It just fits right in the trunk perfect. Some of these outsides don't matter as much, because they're not going to go anywhere. So look, there's another one right there spawning in. Yeah, this farm's pretty quick, because like I said, they're getting all their mechanics out of the way, and it's not even full capacity yet. It's not even half capacity right now, because we're only technically running, what, 10 villagers for professions? No, 12. Yeah, 12 villagers for professions, so it's not even a full steam yet. But let's, I'm gonna sit here and let these villagers get busy, and we'll get it up to its maximum capacity, and then I'll bring you back once, get in there. Once we get there. So I got 2 of them in there already. You love to see it. So the best part of this is, be careful doing this, especially if you got villagers, but, you know, if it's in the spawn chunk, someone spawns in, as long as they don't jump, they're gonna be just fine. You can even put a welcome to our server, don't jump, you know, on the signs. And the villagers won't get hurt, like nothing else will get hurt, so. I mean, they're gonna get hurt initially if they spawn in. That's, if you have players spawning in your spawn chunks, they'll get a little bit of pain initially, but hopefully they're smart enough to jump out the way. You can put fence gates along the fence here and there. As I meant, that is the downside of having a spawn chunks, and if you do elevate this, see, there's 2 right there. We're not even at full capacity. We're getting 1 to 2 almost every iron golem spawn chance. And they're not spawning anywhere else, even with this. They're not spawning outside here. They shouldn't, because that's outside their range, because where I centered the village. They do spawn out here, that might be a centering issue. What I was trying to say is that if you do stack these up, you're going to want a safe way for the players to get down. Which they could take the expressway from top to the bottom. But you definitely want to make yourself a way, you know, getting to each. The one time I think I did like 6 decks. They basically made like a pillar in each corner to make it look like it's held up, you know, and put elevators, you know, one up, one down, and basically each corner went to a different floor, but I had each corner go up a floor or down a floor. Like I did not have it go all the way up, all the way down. Or maybe you could, you know, set up the elevators however you want, as long as you get to each. Yeah, this thing's fast. That's why in my survival play I was never running out of iron, and it's not even a full steam yet. Right? But yeah, so they're socializing, so they spawned again. They were working. They spawned again because they had work. The scaring tactic works for micro farms, like if you just want small, simple, dirty, but if you want to be able to trade, get iron, you can, like I said, you can even use it as a breeder. Because once they go to work, the ones that don't have jobs will kind of wander around, stick them in a boat and launch them out. You can't go above 40, but doesn't, you know, change the rates of the iron golem farms. It's just non-stop. They just keep coming. We're at 36 iron, 10. Of course, you know, you can always make systems to, you know, vet out the poppies if you want. Or to set up, or, you know, one system only takes iron, stocks up. This is definitely one of my favorite designs because, one, you don't have villagers locked in the pads. I mean, you could do that with this if you wanted to, but with the beds having to be where they're at, they're never going to get to their beds, and it'll kind of slow the farm down a little bit because they're being locked into a barrier. They're not going to be able to go out, socialize, sleep, work. If you put your beds out here, you're going to have to fix all the chunks around the farm to spawn the golems and then bring them in. And that's not going to work with this. Dang, another one already. I wasn't expecting that, especially this late. Let that one pass away, and then we will go to sleep and wake up, and I bet you there'll be 2 or 3 there in the morning. As soon as they wake up, they immediately trigger another spawn. I've been playing with Iron Golem mechanics since doors were an issue. I remember one of Tingo Tech's first ones, the Iron Tower. They implemented that in the Xbox 360 version, and it worked pretty well. Tingo Tech was a big inspiration for me to do a lot of Iron Golem farms, and I've played on servers before with people and with friends and family. So I'm always still trying to revolutionize things. May not make the prettiest builds, but I do try to find all the mechanics I can, you know, by watching people, combining things, testing things. This is a combination of several different forms of iron farms, but through my own iteration, because every one of these, they have them locked up in little cages, and beds are stacked in the middle, which I mean it works, but we don't get the full verse of it, and you don't get, you know, the extra breeding aspect of it, because the extra breeding is just, like I said, it's pretty simple. Let's throw some boats down, scoop them up in some boats. Yeah, they're getting a little bit of everything out of this. I don't know how many kids are running around. It took like 2 Minecraft days for them to grow up, but as long as they got, I mean, you could always, like I said, always expand this to get more potatoes. And you can always help out by, yep, see, they're going to work now. That makes them happy. Go to work, dude. He just wants to socialize. Come on, go to work, buddy. and some more taters. This farm works pretty good. I'm proud of my little design here, which is a combination of testing from several other videos, YouTubers, information I gather from the internet. I said scare mechanic works pretty good, but the happier your villagers are, the faster this thing will work. Like scared kind of works, but it also has a time limit. You can only scare them for so long, and then you have to stop scaring them, and then try to scare them again. And so a lot of mechanics involved in it when you could just place this down, build up the workstations. It's also why I like to do this in this where sometimes they fight each other, but for the most part they will stand at their stations and try jumping on it. They stay pretty well organized. So if you look at this, like they're standing right at their stations. And you don't have to worry about locking them up in little chambers. You just, what you got, what you got. Just trade with them as you want, and then they change out their stations. I mean, there's another way. I've used pistons before to kind of break their station because I don't like just push a button and just replace it. You can always just walk in, smack it, put it back. Just try not to hit the villagers because then that ruins your prices. And there's another full-grown one. This thing works pretty good. And if you want, you can always surround this in glass too to light up the area, or even just do all fences. It doesn't have to be brick. Ooh, something else got into the lava. Yeah, this thing's doing pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and going to AFK and let them populate. And I'll bring it back shortly once we hit the maximum population. While I was waiting for things to happen, Iron Golem did spawn right at the edge of this. So I'm probably going to have to do some maths. Because they spawned right at the edge. Ah, you stay in there, sir. I mean, I offed him so it wouldn't happen. Oh, this poor Pokemon. Oh, look at you. Now you're gonna have an Iron Golem standing on your head. You're not going anywhere. Yes, I'm still waiting for it to hit maximum capacity. So I'm gonna say probably another 8 blocks from, the inside of that. So about halfway through another chunk, kind of make sure it's, spawn proof all the way around. And definitely make sure you leave bed blocks under the beds. You don't have to, but there's a chance that they'll go right through the bed. It's happened to me before. Weird, sinking issues and tick issues. Another thing when it comes to professionalists, what you can also do is set up, like when they are working, open the gate, set up a workbench or whatever you want out there. They'll generally come running for it, shut the gate, put them in a boat, cart, whatever you want to do there. Just make sure it's, about 8 blocks away from this, another, about half a chunk. All the way around that spawn proof, slabs or whatever you gotta do. Or even if it's grass, just, turn them into path blocks. Carpet. Well, not if you want to bring villagers outside. You can even make a line, like in the carpet with grass blocks that keeps them, completely breaks their pathing so they go straight to what you want them to go for. I don't know what it is about carpet that breaks their pathing, but surprisingly, slabs don't break their pathing. I just figured I'll share that with y'all real quick because I did have one spawn like right there, that one block outside so I got rid of all that salt I had down there. Yeah, we're getting more and more villagers. I'm gonna let this run up to maximum. We may run into the part where we have a few extra villagers, which is fine because that's part of the breeding process right there. You just get immediately a few extras. And let's say if you want to breed it, you can always put an extra 2 beds in each side, or you can just, clear out a 4 by 8 or 2 by 8 space and put 4 more beds at each, as long as they're pointing that way. You could expand it even further if you wanted to this edge. And then over here, but I would not do this corner here because that put the spawn points too far back. Just leave this 2 by 2 corner alone and just aim them all in there for breeding purposes. Just make sure you only have 40 professions. So that way all the extras you can just lead off to a profession that's too far away, or even set up a trap, or if they step on a plate, it breaks the block, and then you can automatically put them in a minecart, and once they pass a certain point, plop another block down. But that also means have them leave the gate open, which could be dangerous. So them all hard at work at their stations. I'm saying you don't need to lock them into chambers, because they will stay at their stations. And if you leave this side open, they will all try to, if you leave this side open, they'll go, oh, I can get onto my workbench this way. Because they're just not even trying it. But if I delete these 4 items, he's going to get up here and be like, oh, I need to get onto my workstation. All of them will. So they'll be all cornered and huddled up here, and that side, this side. Leave that blocked off. They will just literally stick with their professional blocks. Anyways, I'll bring you back once I do get them up to max, or if I come up with any other ideas. So look at it go. It's still not at maximum. It's still not running its max yet because we don't have villagers at every workstation yet. We're gonna start getting some librarians in. Huh? One of my favorite things I like to do with this, serious in the spawn chunks, which I do edit sometimes, I'll make the spawn chunk instead of a 2 by 2 chunk, I'll make it like a 4 by 4. I'll set up little auto farms like right on the edge, so like sugar cane, and then do more farms over there that are automated. You can do pumpkin, melons, and just surround this place with automated farms and make like a tower. Or just one spot like this and just little auto farms all the way around. Anyways, we'll bring you all back shortly. Welcome back. I got all the villagers maxed out and fixed some of the workspaces that I wasn't even thinking, honestly. For irons, you definitely want grindstones, blast furnaces, smithing tables. For iron trades, it's the best bet. And I was doing a lot of research and looking around to make sure I was correct in my information. This is a full natural, iron golem farm, villager breeding center, and you can literally build day one. You can build it in the chunks. The villages will work within the chunks, even when you stack them up. But unfortunately, iron golems will not spawn unless the player is AFKing within the zone, unless you get a mod to, get rid of the AFK part. That's what I've found online. These players got to be within 64 blocks of the villages. So if you want to stack these up also, they need to be 80 blocks apart from this, basically from this block. That's block 0, and then 1, 2. Or if you got a farm over here, stand here, add 80 blocks to your height. And that's where you want your next floor to be. We'll just start 0 again, and if you can create up to 3 of these, and if you stand in the middle one, that'll give you the chance to get iron from 1, 2, and 3 spawns. In the bottom one, of course, you can let all your iron, all your iron golems fall all the way down into here. And you can build this literally day one. Just all you need is just a few little bits to even get started on the village. You just need to find 2 villages, a couple beds, block off a 2x2 chunk space, let them free roam, give them farmland, let them start doing it. You start your bottom layer could just be all farmers. If you want to just start up all farmers all the way to the bottom level, the next level, the middle level could be for all your librarians and all that stuff, and the third level can be for, you know, all your smithing and or your mix. You can even bottom floor can be mixed stuff, and then you just make elevators outside of it, but they have to be 80 blocks away. So if you started, you know, 70, you gotta add 80 blocks to that. So it'd be what, 150. Yeah, I'd have to go up to, you know, Y level 152 for the next level. And what I'm going to do after this day passes, oh, that's a magic card. I'm going to do after this day passes, now that we got 40 villagers with 40 beds, 40 professions, they got their bell to socialize, they got everything they need to be happy, functional, naturally spawn village with it, villagers and everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out this box after they go to bed, and then I'm going to run a time lapse. AFK in the corner, run a time lapse for about an hour. So let record for an hour, make an hour time lapse, and see how much iron we get within an hour. Maybe I'll do 10 minutes first, because I mean it's just filling up before I even got all 40 villagers. I just got all 40 villagers right before I started because I messed up the trading tables. I had to double check because I forget things sometimes. I think they're still spawning even as they're going to bed. So yeah, they all have. Yeah, okay, that was like every once in a while they may wonder like, where's my bed? But no, they all have a bed. They all have a station. They all have socializing. So there's no scare mechanics here. There's no change the bedding or the workstations or anything like that. This farm should last long term. So now that they are asleep and iron golems will not spawn anymore, I'm going to start the time lapse and let's see how much we get. Quite curious. Let's do yeah, let's go ahead and just do a full hour. I'm going to get my timer started and I will see you again after an hour, and then we. Alright, I am back. Let's see what we got over this last hour. And that this music, I still need to figure out how to. I don't know what to do with this music. It is so annoying. Oh, everyone just got up. Yeah, I just emptied out the chest, threw it all in my inventory. This is everything we got while we're building it. Oh, we even got an iron golem. Wow. So yeah, almost 3 stacks within an hour. Plus one's just now falling. That's not bad at all. this is I think this is honestly my favorite design. One of the best ones I've ever used. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was helpful, and I can always come back and do more with it if y'all need. I can do, survival almost from the start. Remember, build it from the ground up. It's got to be, if you wanted to stack, jeez, only stack them up to 3. If I did that, this would be the bottom level, and then, block 0, and then that would be 1, and then 80 all the way up. And that's for each one. Like, this is block 0, so it's going to be 80 blocks away from the tip of this bed, because this is the center of the village. So that'd be right there, 1, 2, 3, and then, continue all the way up to 80 if you wanted to stack it and do all the levels however you wanted. Also, I think when I start a new survival series, I'm going to build this, and the bottom level is just going to be all farming. So I get all the food and trays and everything I need. The next level could be, I'll probably use, well, no, it probably shouldn't be. I don't know, I'll figure it out when I get into a new survival series. Small bale. I'm just going to shove all this stuff back in there. Except for that. Let's see, there's another one. And another one. Now, this thing works incredibly well. Like I said, in order for the iron golems to actually spawn, according to something I found online, the player has to be within 64 blocks, so if you did make a triple layer, the middle layer would be where you'd have to AFK for this. Now, the villagers, jeez, another one. The villagers, everything will work just fine inside the spawn chunks, but iron golems won't spawn. But I don't know, I might put that to the test after this video to see if that's true or not. Take everything out, go more than 64 blocks away, see if we get anything new. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this iron farm is helpful for you, because you get all your trading, your breeding. If you want to breed, just add some extra beds around the edge. If you just want to, you just kind of face them this way. If you want more than 2 on each corner, make sure your pillows are pointed that way. So it keeps the spawning, they either in on each other or pointed towards the center. You can make more than 40, but 40 is the, best efficient number you can get. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching. Take care, and goodbye for now.